Hello and welcome back to another expanded deck profile. Today we're going to talk about one of the worst ideas ever conceived that I have put to a list. Now I will warn you, I have played this deck several times and I've only pulled the combo off once. Meaning I've won a game because my opponent scooped. If your opponent actually sticks out a game, I don't think you can ever actually win with this deck in any normal circumstances. Now what is the goal with this deck? We're going to use this Weedle to do 300 damage. It sounds a little absurd, doesn't it? You're like sitting here like, oh, this Weedle has 40 HP, does 20 damage. How is he going to do 300? Well, glad we're asked. We're going to use the single strike scroll of the Fanged Dragon, which takes 5 energy and does 300. But even still, you need 5 energy. How do you do that? We're going to remove the energy cost with Sunflora from Cosmic Eclipse. It's a lot more awkward than you might possibly imagine to set this up. So yeah, we start with 4 Weedle. You could play a different split of the attackers in this deck. I just think the Weedle is funnier, and the deck is already terrible, so you might as well just go in on the funny factor. So obviously Weedle 40 HP is god-awful, single strike is relevant, the attack is irrelevant, and the retreat is almost irrelevant as long as it's not 3. We have 1 copy of Tepig, single strike as well. It's another basic, and it has ram and combustion. Main thing here is that it hits a different type of weakness, and because the Sunflora's attack does grass and fire Pokemon, means that any basic grass or fire can do it. I actually built post-edit me here. You can actually use some better basics if you want to make this deck kind of more viable. I built this deck originally when Chilling Reign first released, when Evolving Skies came out, and this Weedle was like the option for this. There are a few other single strike fire and grass Pokemon that you can use for this, so if you want to use those, go ahead and use those. Why am I not using those? First of all, because I didn't feel like re-recording, and second of all, because Weedle is funny. Use Entei over Tepig. He's not level ball searchable though, so we're using Tepig. That's just the way I also built the deck like 9 months ago. More than that now, it's been a long time. 4 copies of Sunkern with 50 HP. Sunkern hasn't always like been terrible on cards. There's only been like 1 good Sunflora ever back from Heart Gold Silver, from my recollection. So you just play it because it's got 50 HP and the other ones have 40. Sunflora does have 90 HP, meaning it's level ball searchable, as are all the Pokemon prior to this. And it's for that solar power. You turn off, during your next turn, you turn off all costs of fire and grass Pokemon. So this includes Pokemon that come into play on that turn. It's a very cool attack. Now the thing you may be looking at is, why is there Arceus, Dialga, Palkia here? It's because we need to win in 2 attacks. Altered Creation. For the remaining game, your Pokemon attack do 30 more damage, or we need to win 2 strikes, I should say. If this Pokemon has at least 1 extra water, which it will pay, then you get to take 1 more prize card per attack. So it turns your damage output up to 330. Now we can't produce more damage by attaching a tool because we already have the Fanged Dragon on the Weedle or Tepig. So we will now go up to 330, and we will take an extra prize, meaning we can win by killing 2 prizers twice. And then, we just need the Altered Creation, then you need to get out of the active. 1 copy of Ditto Prism. It plays into the Sunkern line, into Sunflora, so you have a 4th Sunkern essentially. But it also plays for this Milotic with the Do Guard ability. Whenever your opponent plays a supporter card from their hand, prevent all effects of that card done to you or your hand. You may notice one glaring flaw among a million of this deck is that it auto-loses to Pokemon Ranger, which would remove your Altered Creation and removes your Solar Power. So, actually it doesn't remove Solar Power, I don't think, because that's during your next turn. Well, whatever, it moves Altered Creation. Yes, I've never had that interaction come up. It does remove Altered Creation, I have had that interaction come up. So we play the Milotic from Evolving Skies. This is a newer inclusion in the deck because it just prevents Ranger from moving your Altered Creation, and you need your Altered Creation. So just say, no, you can't take away my Altered Creation, and then they don't. It's a little hard to search in this deck. There's only 1 card really that can search it. Actually 2 if you count Teammates. But, you know, it's just kind of an auxiliary, I don't want to lose to Ranger immediately kind of card. 1 copy of Jirachi, 90 HP, means level ball searchable, and it uses Stellar Guidance. When you play it from your hand into your bench, search your deck for a supporter. So it keeps your deck a little bit more consistent. With 4 item ball searches, that's not too bad to find the Jirachi in a pinch. 4 copies of Juniper, discard your hand, draw 7. Obviously very strong consistency supporter. Just using it to plow through our deck, get our pieces as fast as possible, and win as fast as possible. 1 copy of Cynthia, shuffle your hand, deck, draw 6. Also a very good card. You could play N in here, could play Marnie in here. I'm playing Cynthia just because I want a consistent shuffle draw 6. I don't want to have to shuffle draw 3 in the late game because this deck needs way too many pieces. If like you take knockout, for instance, you don't want to shuffle down to like 3 or 2 cards with N. You just want that constant speed. Marnie can also give you that, and you can just use the power of Marnie to hope your opponent never comes back from their, their Marnied hand. But I wouldn't rely on that. 2 copies of Guzma. Switch your opponent's active bench, or with their active, and then switch your active on your bench. You just always want to be hitting the Pokemon that you want. This deck just auto loses to like single prizers and stuff. So you want to make sure that you're just hitting the Pokemon you want every single time with Guzma. And yeah, Guzma's pretty good. Very cool. 2 copies of Guzma Hala. Search deck for a Stadium, reveal it, put it into your hand, or discard 2, and then search for a Stadium tool card and special energy. This allows you to get your double dragon energies, your twin energies for the Sunflora, and then also your Stadium that we'll talk about in a bit, your super strong / dragon fangs are the tool card that you're going to be searching, or a float stone to put on another Pokemon. Yeah, it's pretty good. 1 copy of Brigette. Again, all these supporters are searchable by Jirachi. Every deck that I play, Jirachi or Lele in, I pretty much always put Brigette in unless there's a better option. Search deck for 1 basic Pokemon EX, never doing that, or 3 basic Pokemon and put them onto your bench. So you can just, turn 1, if you have Jirachi in hand or have Brigette in hand, search for like 2 Sunkerns and a Weedle, or 2 Sunkerns and an ADP. Probably the latter, just because ADP is a little bit more stable and you want to get that DD on board. 1 copy of Teammates. Only played if one of your Pokemon's knocked out. Search deck for 2 cards. Considering that you're sacking probably a Sunflora and a Weedle to just get a combo off, your Pokemon are probably getting knocked out. So Teammates is pretty good. 1 copy of 4 copies of Level Ball. Search deck for a Pokemon with 90 HP or less. Reveal it and put it into your hand. This obviously searches all of the pieces right here, as well as the Ditto Prism, mainly getting your Sunkerns, Sunfloras, and your attackers. 4 copies of Quick Ball. Discard a card from your hand. Search a deck for a basic Pokemon. Put it into your hand. This obviously gets ADP, as well as Ditto, your Sunkerns, and your attackers, but does not get Sunflora or Milotic. It also does get Jirachi, both of them do. I forgot to mention that. 1 copy of Computer Search. Discard 2 cards from your hand. Search your deck for a card. Obviously, this deck has a hard time piecing the combo together. Computer Search gives you a bit of an option to do so. So potential other A-specs you would play in this deck is Life Dew. You could throw a Life Dew on a Sunflora when you put it up. Solar Power, and then do not give up a prize when you do so. Definitely a contender that you might want to consider. Also, maybe scoop up Cyclone to give you another retreating out. Dowsing Machine might be good too, but I just think Dowsing Machine is worse than Computer Search. Computer Search is here for now. If you have a better one that you like more, play that. 2 copies of Energy Loto. Look at the top 7, reveal an energy you find there, put it into your hand. It also includes special energy. We're using this to find our DCs, DEs, and Twins. A little bit hard to find. We only have 7 energy in the deck, so we want to increase our chances with Energy Loto. 1 copy of Adventure Bag. Search your deck for 2 tools, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So it allows you to get your dragons and your floats. Going to need floats to always have the right attacker. Going to need the dragons to attack when you need to attack. 3 copies of Rescue Carrier. Put up to 2 Pokemon, each with 90 HP or less, from your Pokemon into your hand. So allows you to get a whole Sunflora line. Your attackers, not your Ditto. I was going to say Ditto, not your Ditto. Jirachi potentially, among other things. It's just very good. The 3 count feels pretty good. You could potentially maybe run 2, but like that's getting a little risky if you prize 1. So 3 works pretty good. 1 copy of Eco Arm. Shuffle 3 Pokemon tool cards from your Pokemon into your deck. Using this, if you have to discard an early hand of, like, if you have to Juniper away, like maybe 2 single strike scrolls, then you want to just get them back. Obviously, that's not ideal, so Eco Arm gets them back from the discard pile pretty easily. 3 copies of Versus Seeker. Put a support card moves around here, and it just allows you to tech out your supporters a little bit more. Potentially, you want to go for multiple teammates per game and always have access to a Guzma that you discarded earlier. Versus Seeker definitely allows for that. We obviously have our Scroll the Fanged Dragon here doing 300. Discarding all energy is honestly irrelevant because you're not going to have any energy on Weedle, ideally, when you use the attack. So, that's pretty cool. There's some other ways you can honestly make this card work. I've been thinking of a fun Reggie deck to make this card work with. So maybe I'll talk about that in the future. It's a cool little single strike card right there. 2 copies of Float Stone. The Pokemon this card is attached to has no retreat. Great for putting on ADP and your Milotic. Make sure that you can always pivot around the field as you like to get your Solar Power off and your Super Strong Slash off in good succession. So if you fail a single part of the combo, like if you Solar Power and then you're unable to pull off the attack, you lose that Solar Power. So beware. 1 copy of Turffield Stadium. Stadium options for this deck are not too great. There's obviously just some like anti, Silent Lab, anti Path to Peak. You play like Cat as well in that regard. I just don't think you really win against those decks no matter what, just because they're just going to beat you. Things like Ultra and Necrozma you stand no chance against, except maybe I guess you could ADP rush them. That would be a strategy, and that honestly might be, just trying to ADP rush your opponent might be a better strategy than this entire deck. We don't talk about that though. You play it because it's searchable off Guzma Hala. That's basically what I'm trying to say. 4 copies of Double Colorless is to pay for the Solar Power. It's obviously pretty good. 4 copies of DE pays for your Double Dragon cost on the Altered Creation to use that. Can also potentially be used with another energy supplement to do Ultimate Ray. It's like I said, maybe it just might be better to do that. 1 copy of Twin provides 2 colorless as long as it's not attached to a V or GX. That's why we play 4 DCE over Twin. DCE is just always better in every single situation, but we do need a 5th copy, so we play the Twin. I would not play the Double Turbo in this deck, which potentially could be useful, but you don't want to get that stuck somewhere and potentially miss a key knockout because of the damage reduction on it. Anyway, though, that's been a look at this just Weedle deck, this absurd, I don't know why I made it kind of deck. This deck is bad, right? Like, you all get that. This deck is horrible. Don't play this deck. And make sure to check out my other expanded deck profiles for other decks you should maybe actually play, although they're all still usually rogue archetypes. Thank you all so much for watching. I do tabletop stuff as well, if you want to check that out. I'll have more tabletop stuff coming this week. Get excited. Thank you all so much.